Oh, okay.
Okay, I have the thumbs up. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 5:30. Members of the public have been invited to participate in the meeting of council by attending in person at the council chambers at the municipal office located at 10227 Ilderton Road in Coldstream, or by contacting the municipal clerk to receive a registration link to join the meeting electronically. Members of the public may also access the meeting live stream on our Middlesex Centre YouTube channel. Councillor Coles is absent in person, but is attending virtually this evening. The municipality of Middlesex Centre recognizes that we are gathering on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Lenni Lenape peoples. We acknowledge the enduring presence of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people on this land and are committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. Our neighboring First Nations, which include the Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, and Munsee Delaware Nation, continue to live as sovereign nations. I don't have any additions to the agenda tonight, but I do want to make one wee announcement before we get to business. I would like to take a moment to recognize one of our staff members and thank them for a job well done. Kristen Cybers took on a leadership role in helping organize the Ilderton 150 activities that were held last Friday night through to Sunday. And as a chair of the organizing committee, she helped guide the planning process and coordinated all kinds of details and activities and other duties as required on an ongoing basis for the whole weekend. This event represents more than a year and a half of dedication, hard work, and commitment on her part. So I just want to say thanks very much to her for all her work. On behalf of council, there was also something that I want to announce. It's the well, you probably heard the news, but if you haven't, there was a significant donation of $1 million this past weekend at the Ilderton Fair as well. And 50 community organizations, including sports and youth groups, fire associations, churches, and cemeteries all across Middlesex Centre received $20,000 each to support their programs and activities. These donations were made by a longtime resident, Glenn Powell, who wanted to give back to the community and wants to acknowledge groups that were important in his life. So I just want to say thank you again to Mr. Powell for your incredible contribution to our community. So that's all I have for that. And as I said, there are no additions to the agenda, so we can move to item 4. I'll look to council. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Okay, seeing none. Tonight, we do have delegations and presentations. We have one community presentation registered for the evening, and I'd like to call on the representatives from the Strathroy Hospice to come forward at this time. Hello. Okay. Have a seat. And you'll see that there are a couple of buttons there. When the light goes red, then I can make it green. There we go. The floor is yours, and go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, Your Worship and members of council and staff. Thank you for having me speak to you this evening. My name is Sari Belzicki. I am an advisor to the board of Strathroy Hospice. I'm here tonight because Middlesex County remains one of the few areas in Ontario without a residential hospice. We're asking for your support as we work to bring compassionate end-of-life care closer to home for families in our county. I'd like to share tonight why this project is important, where we are today with our efforts, and how your support can help make that a reality. Oh, I see. There we go. So there are currently no residential hospice beds in Middlesex County. When families reach the point where hospice care is needed for their loved one, they often have very few choices. So many are forced to either travel outside of the county, maybe remain in acute care hospital bed, enter a long-term care home that really aren't designed for life care, or try and manage their complex needs at home. These are some of the most difficult days in a person's life, in a family's life, and maybe yourself have had that experience. Residents of Middlesex County deserve the same opportunity to receive compassionate end-of-life care close to home as residents in neighboring communities. That being said, the need for hospice care continues to grow. Our population is aging, and more residents are living longer with illnesses like cancer, heart disease, COPD, dementia, and other neurological conditions. So why a hospice? Hospices or hospice care strengthens communities and the healthcare system in several ways. Patients who no longer require hospital treatment can receive specialized, comfort-focused care in a home-like environment, which means better use of hospital beds, fewer emergency visits, reduced healthcare costs, and better outcomes for patients and families. Hospice also complements hospitals and long-term care homes. It's not a replacement, but a complement. So who will our hospice serve? Although we are currently called Strathroy Hospice, that is, it's not just a Strathroy Hospice. That name will eventually be changed, hopefully to reflect donor contribution. Our hospice aims to serve residents throughout Middlesex County, including rural communities, as well as the Indigenous communities. Families shouldn't have to leave their community just to receive compassionate end-of-life care. So I wanted to show where the gap is currently. So the need has been already carefully studied and monitored. In 2024, the identified need for London and Middlesex was 38 hospice beds. So that's the deficit. Today, that number's actually increased. So this data is a bit old, but it's actually 48 beds in this region with 10 beds designated for London. We have already applied to the Ministry of Health for 5 hospice beds for our project. Unfortunately, the map isn't showing here, but right now there are there are a small number of hospice beds or hospices in the surrounding communities, but none in the center. And even with the 5 proposed beds, there's still going to be a shortage of more than 30 beds across our region. So this project isn't creating excess capacity. It's just a beginning to address a very real gap in the healthcare system. I think for the sake of time, I'm going to bypass this, but you can feel free to watch that on your own time. It's just a story of one of our board members who whose husband had terminal cancer and who had to travel 2 hours outside of their home in Strathroy in order to receive palliative care in a hospice bed. In terms of where we are today, the project has made a lot of progress. We've received letters of support from healthcare leaders across our region, including Middlesex Ontario Health, Sarnia Lambton Ontario Health Team, Ontario Health at Home, and Middlesex Hospital Alliance. These organizations recognize that hospice care is missing in our region of Middlesex County. Their support has also helped to strengthen our Ministry of Health application. In terms of our fundraising and where we are so far, we've already raised $1.5 million. This is due to the incredible support we have from our local Strathroy Caradoc community and surrounding communities. There's a huge fundraising effort with ongoing fundraising initiatives. This is a kind of vision of what we have, which is approximately an 8,000 square foot facility, which will be a residential hospice that will be designed to feel like a home, not a hospital. It will include 5 private patient suites, comfortable family spaces, reflection gardens, outdoor spaces, access to a pond and mature trees, and care that supports physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. This will hopefully leave a lasting legacy of compassion for our community. The picture you can see at the bottom is the area where we would like to see the hospice go. And I think maybe I'll just speak personally for a moment. So that is a farm that actually I own. And I would like to donate the land for this hospice. The reason or how I came about to this decision was about 5 years ago. My late husband, was diagnosed with cancer. He grew up on that land. He was a farmer, and his family have been farmers for generations on that land. After Michael passed, I was thinking about a way not only to honor his legacy, but also to contribute meaningfully to our community and also to have a legacy for himself and for our kids. And I was put in touch with Tyler Damon, who is the chair of our board. He told me about his efforts to kind of start fundraising. This was about 2 years ago. And he didn't have land yet, and I took him out to the farm and told him what I had envisioned, which was a place where people could die peacefully at the end of life, close to home, to make it easier for families. And I guess one thing led to another, and here we are. We've gone through a lot of work with the municipality in Strathroy, with a planning company to try and make this happen. So I guess I wanted to express my understanding of what farmers contribute to this community, because I know we're asking for designation change because it's obviously some agricultural land that I'd like to donate. It is by no means the entire farm, just a small section. But I also think that it takes a community to envision something bigger that is also very important to all of the residents of the surrounding community, and that this will have a lasting impact on people. There's a section of land there where there were old kilns. All that land is now available to farm. So it's not that whole area where we won't be able to farm anymore. So I just wanted to point that out as well. Again, seeing that I value and respect what farmers do, but I also think there's a need for hospice close to home in a beautiful setting like the one I have available. And it is with all my heart that I want to donate this land for the hospice. I just wanted to show you briefly who is on our board. Again, these are all volunteers on our board. We have healthcare professionals. So I myself am also a nurse practitioner. I work in cancer care at the Verspeten Family Cancer Center in London. So very familiar with healthcare and the need for palliative care. We have business leaders, financial experts, community members who are donating countless hours, both for fundraising efforts and to make this hospice a reality. So it is, again, truly a community-driven initiative. And just to summarize the impact, I think that this will have in terms of offering healthy communities, compassionate care, particularly for those aging and at end of life, supporting seniors, improving healthcare access. The other piece is that we do hope to become leaders in the development of hospices in other communities. Again, the deficit is 48 beds, and would only be 5 beds. So we're hoping that other communities will hopefully see what we have done and work together with us to help develop hospices as well in your local communities. Support for ensuring that no family has to leave Middlesex County to receive compassionate end-of-life care. I wanted to thank you for your timing and allowing me to speak tonight. I very much appreciate it. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you for that very heartfelt presentation. I'll look to Council. Are there any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Burrs.
So are you just looking for a letter of support from us? Is that what you're looking for, or what are you looking for?
A letter of support would be wonderful. There's also going to be a meeting happening, I think, in a few weeks where there will be a vote for, I believe, the mayors of several counties. So Strathroy, Middlesex, Strathroy, Caradoc has voted in support of this. And I think there are going to be local meeting happening where we would need the support of several mayors.
Okay.
Thank you. Through the mayor, Sarah. Quick question, Sarah. Family physicians. A lot of people unfortunately don't have family physicians, just the way that things are right now. Would there be a family physician there to take over the responsibility of a patient?
Thank you. There's several different models of how hospice works. Some hospices have physicians where the physician in the community will follow their own patient into hospitals. There can be rotating coverage of physicians or nurse practitioners that work in community. There's even an NP-led hospice up in Muskoka. So there's lots of different models. We're not yet at that point where we've decided on the type of model that we want to have. We really just need to make this, or hoping to make this area a reality. And yeah, but there's multiple different ways that that could be run.
I don't see any other hands. I had one quick question as well.
Yeah.
Had to do with the capital and operating pieces. Does the capital for the structure have to be 100% raised in the community, and then operating monies would come from the ministry, or is there any kind of matching? Or
There is, so we've applied for funding. I think we need to have $5 million before we can kind of break ground. And I think that's my understanding. Jared, am I?
As far as I know, the ministry has some funds available, but because we don't have a formalized site in place or whatever, they're reluctant to say, we will give you some funding. There will be some possible capital funding in place. It's my understanding that if we start to build before they give us their capital funding, which is not, it's not into the millions, it's only, I think, 175,000 that they would offer. But we're not going to wait for them to give that. If we can raise it and get it started, we certainly want to get going with it. Once we've got that in position, like once the hospice is operational, the ministry does provide funding per bed for nursing and care facilities. So we still need extra funding for operational expenses and various things, gardening, all of the other stuff. But we fully expect that we will have enough community support and generous individuals that will help us in that area.
Okay, thank you kindly. I don't see any more lights coming on, so I'll just take a moment and say thank you very much for your time and sharing the background and what you're looking for into the future. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, we'll see you at county too. Okay. You're welcome. So there's a motion before council that the presentation from the Strathroy Hospice be received for information. I have Councillor Cates and Councillor Shipley. Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, we can now move on to the adoption of the minutes. The motion before us is that the minutes of the July 2nd, 2026 meeting of council be approved as presented. That's moved by Councillor Arts and Councillor Cates. Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. We're now going to be moving into public meetings. The motion before us is that council move into the public meetings at 5:50 p.m. pursuant to the Planning Act RSO 1990 as amended to consider the applications that are listed on the July 15th, 2026 agenda. I'm going to go through an order of business so we know what's happening each step along the way. Just a second, we need a motion to go into that first. If I have a mover, please. Thank you, Councillor Burrs and Councillor Cates. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so members of the public that wish to receive further notification on any of the applications that are being considered today, I ask that you please send an email to planning@middlesexcentre.ca requesting further notification. Please be advised that comments expressed and written material presented are a matter of the public record. If you have questions on any of the applications that are being heard this evening, we ask that you direct those to the appropriate planner on file. Members of the public that have requested to speak will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address council and provide comments on the applications. In keeping with our procedural bylaw and our R-zone policy, I would remind all of the meeting participants to use respectful language and uphold our values of cooperation, trust, and openness. There is an order of proceedings, and it is as follows. The chair, that is myself, will ask the planner to explain the purpose of the application and to present the staff report. Then the applicant or their agent has an opportunity to speak to that application. Then those who have registered in advance and are attending in person will be asked for their comments. Then those who have registered in advance and are attending virtually will be asked for their input. Then remaining members of the public who are present and wish to delegate will be called on for additional comments. Then council will be asking questions of the applicant, delegates, and/or staff. And then finally, I will ask that council consider motions regarding the applications. So the first item up is 7038 Egremont Drive. It's filed by Martin Brandt on behalf of West Haven Golf and Country Club. Dan Fitzgerald is the planner on the file, and he's in attendance to provide an overview of the planning report. When you're ready, Dan.
Through the chair, thanks, Mayor, members of council. So item 7.1 on the agenda tonight is both a consent and a zoning bylaw amendment application. So the purpose and effect of the consent application, which is B13 2026, is to sever a portion of land from the golf course, representing a minor boundary adjustment to be added to the adjacent residential parcel. So as proposed, the consent would sever a portion of that golf course that is approximately 1.91 acres in area. And it's proposed to add to the existing residential property that's located at 6908 Egremont Drive. Secondly, the purpose and effect of the zoning bylaw amendment application, which is ZBA 13 2026, is to rezone the proposed severed area to be consolidated with the neighboring parcel from the Parks and Recreation Zone to the Hamlet Residential First Density Zone. So effectively just to rezone it to the parent parcel land. The effect of the rezoning, again, is just to match the existing property zoning at 6908 Egremont, for which it would be added. The portion of lands being the subject of the minor boundary adjustment are currently part of the West Haven Golf and Country Club, and they were previously used to grow sod. The area has become surplus to the operation of the golf course and is now vacant of any use. The applicant has approached the municipality to see if it was possible to purchase the lands and add it to their abutting residential lot that is located at 6908 Egremont. So as stated by the applicant, the requested lot addition is intended to function as an additional yard space, as well as to supplement outdoor recreation opportunities for the landowners. They haven't provided any potential plans for any development to occur on this particular parcel of land. The lands are located on the north side of Egremont Road, and they're east of the intersection of Vanek and Egremont. So the application was circulated in compliance with the Planning Act requirements. We did not receive any objections, and no internal staff raised any concerns. So as indicated in the planning report, staff are comfortable that in this instance, we can interpret the hamlet boundary, given that the properties abut in the manner at which they abut. This would represent a minor boundary adjustment of underutilized lands. So subject to the conditions that are listed in the report, as well as the rezoning, staff are satisfied that the proposal is consistent with the provincial planning statement, as well as conform to both the county's official plan and Middlesex Centre's official plan. Therefore, I am recommending approval of consent application B13 2026, as well as zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 13 2026. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that report, Dan. Is there an agent or is the applicant present and wish to speak? If you'd like to make comments, you can come forward. It's the far left button. If you push that, it'll turn red. And there you have a green light to go. Go ahead when you're ready.
Hi, everybody. My name is Martin Brandt. I'm the applicant on this, and I'm the resident with my wife Alicia at 6908 Egremont. Just thankful that you guys are taking this into consideration. We bought 6908 Egremont from a bank foreclosure as kind of a dream property, getting out of the city, enjoying being out of town in the natural space. And we are slowly fixing up the property from its neglected state into what we hope to think of as a dream home. In addition to that, next door is this piece of the golf course land that was previously used by them, but has not been used in the last 10 to 15 years. So it's really just an overgrown forest, not forest, tall grasses, stuff like that. So we're just looking to add that to our property, maintain it a bit better, and use it just for recreational activities for us and currently our dog, to just be able to spend more time outdoors on. So that's all I would like to add. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now call on members of the public. Is there anyone who's going to speak? If you don't have anyone, no one registered. Anyone here? No one registered. Okay. I don't think there is anyone. So no one's online either. No. So not in person and not online. So I will now look to questions from council, comments. I see no hands raised. So we do have a recommendation before us. The recommendation is that report PLA number 40/2026 regarding the application for consent and zoning bylaw amendment for 7038 Egremont Drive be received, and that the consent application B13/2026 filed by Martin Brandt on behalf of West Haven Golf and Country Club be granted, subject to the 11 conditions recommended in report PLA number 40/2026. And the and the second part is recommendation that the zoning bylaw amendment application, also filed by Martin Brandt on behalf of West Haven Golf and Country Club, be approved in principle, and further that the bylaw be brought forward for consideration upon receipt of a deposited reference plan. Is there a mover? Thank you, Councillor Burrs and Councillor Shipley. Call the vote, all in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. That's everything for that one. Alrighty, the next item on the agenda is, oh, sorry.
Motion to adjourn the public meeting. I apologize.
Oh, okay, that's
I
okay.
missed-
That's all right. We need to move out of the public meeting and into regular session again. So I'll look to council. Could I have a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor Cates and Councillor Arts, thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Alrighty, so we're sitting as regular council again, and the item before us is the consent agenda. There is a recommendation before us. Is there anything here that councillors would like to speak to before I read the motion, call the vote? I don't see any hands. In that case, then the recommendation is that all items listed under the heading of consent agenda for July 15th, 2026 be adopted as recommended. Councillor Shipley, Councillor Cates, thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Next up, we have staff reports. The first item here is 22756 Kamoka Road. It's filed by Melchers Developments, Inc. on behalf of 2813839 Ontario Limited. And Dan, it is your file again, if you'd like to take that, take that up.
Yes, so through the chair, thanks, Mayor and members of council. So what we have here, the property at 22756 Kamoka Road. And just to jog your memory, this did come to council June 17th. A decision was referred back to staff for the owner to investigate potentially increasing parking options on site for the proposed townhouse development. So attached to tonight's agenda are two development concepts that the owner provided to us for staff to look at and evaluate as potential options for council to consider based on the referral. So option one includes a single car driveway for each individual unit, as well as a parking stall within a attached garage. So the stall, I just want to know, would be large enough to meet the minimum parking stall size requirement for a parking stall in the zoning bylaw. So that's something we would certainly review as part of a site plan application and ensure that it was large enough. Option two, provided by the owner, does show double wide driveways for each individual unit, plus an additional parking stall located in the garage. So effectively, you're potentially achieving up to 3 parking stalls per individual unit. So option one, as recommended by planning, would include a requirement as part of the zoning to increase lot coverage from 43% for the main building, plus a 2 additional percent for accessory structures. So this is identical to what was provided to council previously at the June 17th meeting. Option two, though, as provided by the developer, would incorporate would include the incorporation of double wide driveways, plus additional parking stalls in the garage. So in order to accommodate this from a zoning bylaw perspective, option two would require site-specific zoning bylaw provisions, which are kind of outside of what we currently have in the bylaw. And those are included as follows. So similar to option one, there would be an increase in the total lot coverage on site from 40 to 45% for all structures. Secondly, there would be an increase to the minimum parking requirement from 2 stalls to 3 per unit. There would be an increase to the maximum permitted driveway coverage on a lot. So currently right now the standard is 10%, so we'd have to increase that to 18%. And then similarly, there would have to be an increase to the maximum driveway frontage permission. So right now in the bylaw, we have a provision that says the frontage of a driveway can't exceed 60% of the lot frontage. So in this particular case, we'd have to increase that to 72% to accommodate that double wide driveway. So these options are outlined in the planning report. So consistent with the original recommendation, we have reviewed the revised plans. We still have a preference for option one, being the 2 parking stalls with the single wide driveways. There were potential concerns raised with having double wide, like two double wide driveways back to back against the street, eliminating any opportunity for parking laybys in the future, should the municipality wish to proceed that. There was potential snow storage issues brought up with having double wide driveways as well, and reduced frontage, landscaping frontages. So with that said, we are recommending that, or sorry, I am recommending that consent file B 3/2026 be approved, subject to the 18 conditions, as well that zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 7/2026 to rezone a portion of the lands to a site-specific urban residential second density exception zone be approved, and that a bylaw be brought forward upon receipt of a deposit reference plan that is consistent with option 1 in the report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that report, Dan. I'll look to council then. Comments, questions? And Councillor Cates, push the green one. There we go.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. I hope that everybody has had an opportunity to read the reports and review the renderings and drawings. I am fully in support of option 1, and I was the last time as well, really. I want to say, as a reminder, I know many of you have heard me go on and on and on about 2-car parking spots, especially in condo units, and we never had a bylaw for that before. And now we do have a bylaw that says that you need to have two spots per unit, and that's what was brought forward, but people wanted to have it looked at with 3. And I appreciate the fact that you listened and you gave us the 2-car bylaw. And so now I think that we have to honor that 2-car bylaw as well. And clearly in looking at the drawings, we need to do as much green space as possible as well on the front lawn, and it's going to give it a much better fit to the neighborhood than having this giant asphalt jungle along the way. So again, I'm totally in favor of option 1. The other thing that I noted as well, the narrow grass, there's less curb appeal, the double asphalt versus the single, the stormwater runoff, some of those kinds of things. I think it's just far more aesthetically pleasing as well. So I'm in favor of option 1. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Anyone else? Oh, should I take her first? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Coles. We're going to take you next.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor David, I do have a question for Dan. So I want to say thank you for collaborating with the applicant and providing a second option for us. The application before us talks about the corner lot with a single detached dwelling with 5 townhouse units, as we know. And there is a daylight triangle in the corner, but I don't see anything in the report addressing pedestrian infrastructure. So could you please clarify if there's any sidewalk connectivity or crosswalk provisions? Dan, can you speak to us about that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, so through the chair, we're lucky enough to have a sidewalk existing along Oxbow Drive along that frontage. So no additional requirement would be needed in terms of pedestrian circulation. In terms of if you're looking at the potential of crosswalks, certainly that's something the municipality can explore with the county in the future, assuming you mean Kamoka Road in general. So that's something we can definitely explore in the future.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Okay, and I have Councillor Arts.
Through your Madam Chair, this is probably a request from Rob. I agree with option 1, but to avoid people thinking they're going to park all over the street, it would be kind of nice if we put up no street parking before the development begins, because then people realize I got a garage, I got a laneway, that's all I got. So it might clear up some misunderstandings that may occur.
All right, thank you. And I have Councillor Burrs.
Yeah, just a question. It's a very busy street. I think there's a sidewalk on each side. The school's up the road. Is there parking on the street today? Is there parking on that street? Can somebody answer that? On one side, both sides?
So, yeah, parking is currently allowed in or on along portions of the street and near the school. There's some no parking signs up because of the congestion that caused. But certainly the width and the way it is currently divided, I think like 4 meters on either side, it is not conducive to parking. And when cars do park there, it is problematic. So Andrew and I have discussed about making that entire stretch no parking, and then potentially looking at the construction of lay-bys on the
All right.
side.
Yeah, so follow up then to Dan. So where would visitors park? If there's going to be no parking on this, they're going to have to hoof it a few blocks. Is that the idea? Or do you even want to comment on that?
Yeah, so through the chair, certainly after hours parking available at the school. And there are dedicated sidewalks that they could use to the site. There is street parking on Kamoka Road as well.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else? Okay, in that case, there, the motion before us is that the recommendation before us is the report PLA 41/2026 regarding the applications for consent and zoning bylaw amendment for 22756 Kamoka Road be received. And further, that the consent application B 03/2026 filed by Melchus Development Inc. on behalf of 2813839 Ontario Limited be granted to subject to the 18 conditions that were recommended in report PLA 41/2026. And that the zoning bylaw amendment application be approved in principle. And further, that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration that is consistent with option 1 once the municipality has received a deposited reference plan. Mover, thank you, Councillor Cates and Councillor Burrs, all in favor? And that is carried. Okay, thank you, Dan, for that. And we can now move on to 9.2, which is also your file with respect to RBA 17 Holdings, Inc.
Yeah, so sorry, through the chair. I'll do my best to get through this one. So application for zoning bylaw amendment 9.2 on the agenda, which is ZBA 3/2026 or 2025, sorry. So the purpose of the zoning bylaw amendment is to rezone the land to permit a new mixed use development. The applicant is requesting to rezone the lands from an urban residential first density or UR1 zone to a new site-specific village center exception 23 zone, which would permit the commercial as well as residential uses on the property, as well as site-specific regulations to accommodate a new building. So the applicant is proposing a number of site-specific provisions as part of the amendment. These include reductions to the minimum side yard setbacks, reductions of 2 stalls in terms of parking, reductions as well as reductions to planting strips in relations to parking areas. So the effect of the application would be to facilitate the construction of a new 3-story mixed-use building on the lands for commercial uses on ground and residential uses on the 2nd and 3rd story. 9 parking spaces are included, which does include a barrier-free parking space and is proposed to be at the rear of the building where they'll have communal garbage storage on the 1st floor. So the 1st story of the building is set back 1 meter from the front lot line, and the 2nd and 3rd stories overhang by 0.51 meters. The 1st story proposes approximately 90 square meters of commercial space at grade. The 2nd and 3rd story propose 2 apartments that are approximately 48 square meters in size, and as well as 2 apartments that are approximately 48.7 meters in floor area. 2 entrances and stairwells are located on each side of the building, providing street level access to the apartments separated from the commercial uses. And the development plan proposes the building to be located on the west side of the property and the driveway to be located on the east side of the property. The development plan also includes a 6-meter wide driveway, which allows for two-way vehicle traffic movement in and out of the parking lot. So there is limited amenity space in landscaped areas provided on site, and they are generally found along the side as well as the rear property boundaries in this case. And the location of the building is on the west side, which moves the building closer to the existing residential uses located immediately to the west, and would result in the removal of one mature tree on site in front of the existing dwelling. So in terms of process, a public meeting was held in April 2025 to solicit feedback both from the public and council, and for staff to provide feedback regarding the development proposal. As a result of those particular comments provided by staff, the applicant did revise the proposal, and an application was brought back for a public meeting in March 2026, or sorry, in April 2026. So generally, staff are supportive of the proposed amendments or of the mixed-use building development within the village center designation. The requested zoning bylaw amendment and development plan proposes compact residential development patterns. It does support economic development within our area and the mixed-use development along the main street of Ilderton, and does also support commercial services that complement the character of the downtown strip. So given the changes of the plans, staff are supportive of the requested rezoning. As such, staff recommend that zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 3 2026 as amended to rezone the subject lands to a village center exception C1-23 zone be approved, and that the bylaw be brought forward for consideration of council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Dan. Are there questions from council? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Dan, there's a private driveway beside that on the west side. Is that part of this development? Because at one time that was separated, but I'm not sure if it goes with that house now or not. I'm assuming the old house is going to be tore down and then this is going to be built. So I'm just wondering, there's a driveway used to go back into the back end shops at Scarber's. And I'm not sure if that driveway went with the house or if it went with the other property.
Through the chair, that's a great question. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, the existing residence would be removed from site.
Yeah.
And a new access point be established on that, I guess, when you're looking at it, the eastern boundary of the
On the
property.
eastern boundary, okay, okay, so that's not affecting the driveway on the west side of the building.
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, thank you.
There we are. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor, to Dan. So I'm pleased to see the amendments that have been made to this proposal. The additional space for snow storage I thought was very important improvement, and I appreciate that the feedback received has been reflected in our updated plan. Overall, the development's going to provide more housing options and a greater variety of home sizes for us in Ilderton. So I do think that's very valuable for our growing community. Overall, I believe that there is a lot of community support for this new development along Ilderton Road, and we all look forward to seeing it move ahead. Thank you for your work on this.
And thank you. Is there anyone else? Go ahead, Councillor Cates.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to say the same thing. I love this kind of project with the multi-use and the commercial and the residential, and I think it's great. So thank you.
I don't see any more hands. There is a motion before us. The recommendation is that report PLA 25 for 2026 regarding application for zoning bylaw amendment for 13206 Ilderton Road be received, and further that the zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 03 2026 as amended filed by Dillon Consulting Limited in care of Connor Wilkes on behalf of RBA 17 Holdings Limited be approved. Could I have a mover, please, and a seconder? Councillor Shipley and Deputy Mayor Brennan, thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Alrighty. Now we can move to Clear Skies Phase 4 development, the staff report. Right. I have Rob Cascadden, Director of Public Works in Engineering, and he's going to provide the overview of the staff report.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. So, through the Mayor to Council, I'm pleased to present this report regarding the Clear Skies Phase 4 subdivision agreement. Now, as you're aware, the subdivision agreements are not required to be brought to Council for approval, as staff have been delegated authority to enter into the development agreements. However, staff have opted to bring this subdivision agreement to Council as there's been significant interest from some residents in regards to aspects of the Clear Skies development which are related to this agreement. At the time of the original draft plan approval in 2016, the development was intended to be developed in 7 phases. As with many larger subdivisions, the phasing does change over time. There is a graphic included within the report that identifies the current phasing as it's currently laid out, which includes phases 1 through 4, plus future phases that are yet to be determined, whether it'll be a single future phase or multiple phases. Phasing modifications were made prior to the phase 3 proceeding. So at that time, Sifton had rejigged the phasing so that the 7 phases became 4. More recently, with the slowdown in the residential construction, Sifton then took phase 4 and have decided to proceed with the smaller phase 4 and then have the future phases again as either one or multiple phases in the future. The most recent red line amendment was kind of part of that rejigging. They brought that and received county approval in February of 2026 of those red lines, which impacted phase 4 and future phases as well. The build out of the subdivision as a whole, and even each phase, is largely controlled by the developer, not the municipality. We've had those discussions a bit in the past regarding some other developments. So we certainly can't fully control the development timelines of the developer. A lot of it is market driven. Phase 4 is a smaller phase within the development. It includes only 22 lots. When Sifton originally brought this forward, they were looking actually only to do the lots on the west side of the road. And we were not in agreement with that phasing, as it didn't make sense because the servicing all had to go in at one time. So they rejigged and we landed where we currently are with the phase 4 limits. So as part of the phase 4, now that the detailed design is completed, we've prepared the development agreement, which is attached in phase 1. It's very much like our typical agreements with some modifications for site-specific changes, sometimes some improvements that we make along the way. This agreement in particular includes some timing provisions with respect to the completion of the park block, which was originally intended to be in phase 4, but the lands were actually included in phase 3 because of the rejigging of the phases, and some timing provisions for the Clear Skies Trail, which was included within phase 1, but not constructed yet. The agreement currently requires the park block to be graded and seeded by the developer by October 31st of this year, with completion of the park by June 30th, 2027. With the municipality taking on the completion of the finishing works within the park. The development of the trail is intended to be by August 31st, 2029, completed, either by the developer or by the municipality. We have an option in there that the municipality can let the developer know that we intended to move forward with the construction, either ourselves or through a contractor, as opposed to having the developer manage that project. So both of those, of course, are subject to budget approval through the capital budget. I will note that both of those projects are currently identified in the 5-year capital project forecast for 2027. Staff note that that the building permits issued as of April 2026 are about 42% built out. So phases 1 and 3 also comprise about roughly 50% of the lands adjacent to the trail. So that was one of the reasons. There was multiple reasons why the trail has not been built to date. Slow build out is one. Incomplete drawings from phase 1 was another, that there was insufficient detail for the trail construction at the time, and through the phase 3 and phase 4 process, those drawings have now been completed. So Sifton had previously indicated that they were very eager to enter into this subdivision agreement for phase 4. We have more recently been informed that they are not necessarily looking to sign the agreement at this time and may be looking to do so further or later this year. We have given them 2 weeks, or within this report, given them 2 weeks to enter into the agreement as it currently is. And failing that, we could make further modifications and bring it back to council again for direction. I'll leave it there, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you for that report. I'm just following the list right now. We'll take questions on that later. Registered delegations are heard after the staff presentations, and we do have a registered delegate. I would call upon Doug McRae to come forward. He's delegating on this item. If you push the far left button, it'll go red. Okay, and you will have 5 minutes to do your presentation. Go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for allowing me to speak here tonight. And thank you also to the Clerk's Office for facilitating this. My name is Doug McRae. I'm a resident in Clear Skies, live on Bowman Street. I've been living there for a little over 5 years now. Also, before I get started, would like to say thank you to staff over the course of the last few years for supporting conversation and dialogue, in particular with many residents that have brought concerns forward. And that goes particular to the director, Rob. So thank you for continuing to engage with us through this. I want to be very clear about the delegation tonight is that I'm not here to, I don't disagree with the going forward with phase 4. What I really want to do is present concepts as to how we can actually improve and safeguard the timelines that are proposed in phase 4. So as I go through this, you will see in the delegation package that I have some recommended amendments to this that for council's consideration. Before I do that, I think it might be helpful to just go through a little record on this file. As described, this draft plan was approved back in 2016 with the phase 1 signed in 2017. The trail was a required work in this. It was part of the Schedule G of that phase 1 subdivision agreement. Within that, it was required to be built within 3 years of that subdivision agreement being signed. 2019, families started moving in. Under the auspices of a trail being there, marketed materials that said there was a park, as well as commitments within budgets and strategic documents drafted by council. The deadline for that expired in 2021, and this is when residents began to start asking where are the amenities that were promised. From 2021 to 2025, the park and trail appeared in capital budgets, and still no construction. In February 26, as presented, the sequencing and the phasing was redesigned. And then now we have in 2026 also all these projects have been removed from the capital budget, and we are pushing dates here. So my intent here is to try and focus on just stating that background very quickly, but how can we protect against a cycle of delays and deferrals of the parks and trails? Just to highlight this again, this is not intended to point fingers at anybody on council, but council has voted on this time and time again. And so the question tonight is going to be what makes this vote different, or what makes this this process phase 4 different. You voted on it and through budgets. Year over year, you voted on the subdivision agreement for that trail to be built. At no point has there been a resolution by council to defer or delay the trail construction. And within even the phase 1 agreement, it explicitly states only council can defer and delay that. So there's just a mechanical issue here in terms of how these decisions are being brought to council and forwarded. So I would like to just suggest that we have to break the cycle in these types of subdivision agreements and really encourage council to think about how we can move forward and stay true to commitments that are made. Getting right to it, essentially requesting 5 amendments. The first one is to deal with the fact that there is still an open obligation within the phase 1 subdivision agreement that has the trail network built into it. So how are we going to look at this to say that what agreement will supersede one another? Is it the one from 2017 or is it the one from today? Ultimately, we're looking at a significant delay from that timeline. So I think we need to know, how did this slip and how were the decisions made along the way so that we can understand that we can prevent it to happen to later on. The second piece is to bring the park and the trail under the same rules and oversight that were in the previous subdivision agreements, that council makes decisions on the delays there. We need this in the public forum, and we need it transparently communicated to residents if we're going to see any future delays. The third amendment, thank you for the 1 minute. The third amendment is the trail construction date. We've been told by staff for years that this cannot be done until the broader subdivision is built out. We are now hearing that we have the drawings, and we are also seeing that the future phases aren't planned for yet. So really, if we're told one thing, we need to reconcile the fact that it's planned to be built now. So can we accelerate that now that we have the drawings and those pieces? Also, the security is an enforcement mechanism. Can we put a security dedicated to these parks and trails so that it's drawn down? If we draw down to $75,000, it doesn't cover the cost of the parks and trails. The other piece is just, can we prevent any new construction until these pieces are made? We've been told, slow down in the market is slowing down phases, but yet phases are advancing while these requirements stand incomplete. So I'm just asking for council to consider that. And thank you, and I'll welcome questions.
Okay, thank you. So members of council, it's your turn now. Are there questions, comments? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Arts.
Through you, Madam Mayor. I guess I'll start with the one and then I'll have a question for Rob. In the 2026 budget, it is in the 5-year capital. And they've been bumped, the 5-year capital. We've got projects that keep getting bumped just because they're not ready to be done. And in a case like this, it's much easier to have everything built before we do the trail. I know you're not happy with that, but to try to have a trail built and then construction in front of the trail is not a very good safety measure either. But I do have a question for Rob. In the original subdivision agreement, Mr. McCrae has said that the trail is supposed to be built in 3 years. So I need some clarification on that.
So I think that the reference is that our standard subdivision agreements refer to 3 years to achieve completion, right? And completion is completion of the works plus % build out of the lots, right? The lands for the trail were dedicated as part of phase 1, so they're actually under municipality ownership. I don't know if the actual word, and Mr. McCrae can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure if it actually says construction of the trail. I think it says completion of the trail. So I can see the inference that it was intended to be constructed as part of phase 1. Should it have been in there? I would suggest no, because of where phase 1 was located, it didn't make a lot of sense, right? Even the design drawings that were completed as part of phase 1 for the trail were insufficient to build the trail based on those. But yes, there is language in there that does refer to the completion, certainly to the completion of the trail as part of phase 1.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? No other questions? Okay, in that case, there is a motion before us. Oh, go ahead, Councillor Cates.
Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor. I'm just trying to lull around in my mind what it is that I would say, to put it into the words. I understand. I think that part of the thing is when people buy a house in phase 1, you never really know what's going to happen and at what timeline, and real estate agents put something in the marketing material or builders, and then, you know, other things happen. It has really been a change in home sales, etc. Hopefully you know, the HST rebates and development charge cutbacks, etc., will really make a big difference in that. And I think that the move forward with phase 4 shows some effort on Sifton's part to be able to be prepared for what's, you know, hopefully a housing rush, if you will. And so I just wanted to add that I think that it's things that we see in other, you know, in other areas as well, that this gets delayed and that gets delayed. Personally, I have complete faith in staff and what they're doing, and thanks for thanks for their dedication on that. So thank you.
Go ahead, Deputy.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Rob. Rob, in the phase 4, it says the parkland is supposed to be developed. Is that Sifton's responsibility or ours?
Yes, to the mayor, to the deputy mayor. So we have discussed that internally. So there's different ways it can take place. Either way, it's DC funded. So developers' responsibility at their cost is to grade and seed the park. The development beyond that is DC funded, and we're looking to take that in-house through community services. We are planning to work with Sifton to get, I think it's a concrete base for the play structure done, that they would undertake that, but they would be refunded for, and then we take it over from that. Be similar to how Timberwalk Park was developed.
Okay, just one question. So Sifton has to grade it and seed it before really we can do anything more on that. Failure to do so, or is there any repercussions we can do to Sifton to force that to happen on this timeline?
So if we have this agreement in place and they execute it, then we could pull in their security, because that's why we put the timelines in there.
Okay.
That's why we're, one of the reasons we would like to move forward with the agreement and,
But he
have
hasn't
them.
signed it yet.
Yeah, they haven't signed yet. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And Councillor Coles is coming on.
Thank you.
There you
Mayor.
are. Go
Okay,
ahead.
wonderful. Thank you very much, Mayor DeVete. First of all, I want to thank Mr. McCray for taking the time to prepare and present his delegation tonight. I do appreciate the effort he's put into researching this matter and advocating for the Clear Skies neighborhood. I want to say, like many residents, I want to see the park and the trail completed as soon as possible as well. These are important amenities that will benefit our community for many years to come. However, I also believe that timing is an important part of delivering these projects successfully, and that's what we're talking about tonight. So I want to thank Rob also for the work that he is doing with Sifton as far as the park and the trail goes. I do have full confidence that staff are working with the developer to fulfill the commitments made through this subdivision agreement. And while I understand that some residents are frustrated with the pace, I don't believe the situation warrants the actions being requested today. So again, I want to thank staff working on this, and I also want to say that I believe it's important that we maintain a collaborative relationship with both our staff and the developer, just to make sure these community assets are delivered. Our shared goal is the same, right? We want to see the park and trail completed for the residents, and we simply need to find the best path to get there. Thank you.
Thank you. And Rob, I understand you wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, I just had a few comments regarding Mr. McCray's request and kind of information for both council and Mr. McCray. So I know staff we've intended to bring a report to council regarding the history of the trail. I don't know if that's necessary at this point, given the discussion around this, but we can certainly do so if that's desired. The construction of the trail, so as it's laid out in the phase 4 agreement right now, the intent is that Sifton would have to do the grading and the seeding for the trail again at their cost by August 2028. And then either they build it or we build it, right? So that could even be late 2028 but it's by the end of August 2029. I mean, one option is just to take that completely out of their hands and bring it completely in-house and do it on a timeline of whatever council wishes, right? That is also an option. The park council was aware, so just wanted to point out, yes, the whole deferral of the trail, that although a report hadn't come specifically to Council Arts' point, that there's a lot of capital projects that get deferred for one reason or another, and council is updated on that through the quarterly budget updates and the annual the capital budget that's approved each year, right? So it has been identified to council, although not explicitly in a report. It's been identified with other budgets or budget items. Just regarding the trail design, Mr. McRae pointed out, yes, the design is fully, it's complete, it's ready. So it's ready. We have drawings ready to go to construction. So that's great. So that aspect is out. Now it's just a timing. We're hopeful that residential construction is going to pick up and that, phase four is the first phase of the next ones to come. And hopefully the lands adjacent to the trail will develop soon as well. Just wanted to touch on the letter of credit. So there is a requirement, obviously, for a letter of credit. The way the reduction works is that we go down to a minimum of 75,000 or 10% of the original, whichever is greater. In this case, I don't know which would be greater, but it's only reduced after work is completed. Whether that letter of credit includes the cost for the trail and the park, we haven't decided that yet. It's kind of unnecessary because it's DC funded. So ultimately, we would just be asking them to put up security for money that we're going to give them back anyways if they do the work. So it's not really necessary for it to be included within there. This agreement is either the first or one of the first where we do have a provision within the agreement that does allow us to go back and look at the value of the letter of credit. And if there's inflationary pressures, that we can go back and ask for more money for the letter of credit once every 3 years. And then just the whole holding up future phases. So that's a bit problematic because each phase is subject to a different agreement. So council doesn't really have the jurisdiction. This has come from the legal advice in the past. Council doesn't have the jurisdiction to hold up a phase because of an event on another phase. If we want to hold it, or if council chooses to hold up a phase because it's premature for some other reason, like too many lots available in previous phases, that's one thing, but not because of a issue within another phase. So I just wanted to point that out as well. So lots of different things. We're happy to see this move forward at an appropriate time, whatever is deemed by council. So.
Could I just follow one question? The one thing I didn't hear anything about was any liability risk. Is there any exposure because of phasing or completeness and incompleteness or safety pieces that, I don't know, I can't even think of all the extent. I'm just thinking, we haven't touched on liability at all. Is there anything that council would want to know about before we, ponder and make a decision here?
Not really. I don't think so, but I can say that as far as the trail goes, I know a question has been asked me, does it make sense to build it in pieces? Right. So we could build the piece at the south end, the piece at the north end, and then be missing the 50% piece in between. So in my opinion, that doesn't make sense, that when we go in to build it, we built it as one, because it should be more economical to do it as a single project. Yeah. The park, with the phase 4 coming online, the park will be bordered by roads on the east and the west, lots on the south, with future lots on the north. So it would be essentially built on 3 of the 4 sides, which is, so then we have sidewalk connections to the park. Again, so I think as far as timing of the park, that also makes sense. And there'll be fencing required on one side of it. But yeah, so I think, obviously residents will have to, be mindful that there still will be construction activity in the area, no different than what we see in Timberwalk Phase 5 right now. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's the same as in any other. Yeah. Okay. Last call, I guess I should say, is there anything else that anyone wants to ask about? Okay. I don't see any hands. So we do have a motion, a recommendation before us, and that is that PWE report number 36/2026 regarding Clear Skies Phase 4 development agreement be received. And further, that staff be directed to enter into the subdivision agreement for phase 4 of Clear Skies subdivision, that is 39 TMC 1401, substantively in the form included as attachment A1, only if the developer provides an executed copy on or before July 29th, 2026. If the developer fails to provide staff with a signed agreement within the time period specified above, this direction shall be revoked, and upon staff receiving a signed agreement from the developer, the agreement shall then be brought back before council for consideration and direction. Do I have a mover, please, and a seconder? Deputy Mayor Brennan and Councillor Burrs, all in favor? And that is carried. Thank you for your time, Mr. McCray and Rob and everybody for your questions. And we will move on to item 9.4. Stephanie Bergman, Manager of Planning and Development, is in attendance to speak to the report in front of us.
Great. Thank you very much. And through you, Madam Mayor, to the rest of council, I'm here to present some recent work that staff have been undertaking to develop a more comprehensive and consolidated way of tracking our ongoing development. So it's something that I'm quite excited about. And it's a particularly important input to our land needs assessment, which I think we all know is being undertaken right now as part of our official plan review as we assess our land need out to the 2056 planning horizon. So as the numbers in the report show, we do have a very healthy, we'll call it the pipeline of over 720 what we're calling shovel-ready units. So these are units that have a development agreement really kind of in hand, kind of ready to go. And it kind of speaks to actually some of what we were speaking about in the last item, just about the timing and we do have, unfortunately, we have quite little control over how fast developments occur. But again, we have about 727 these shovel-ready units that are really ready to go at any time. And just to put that into context, the county's recent official plan amendment that included our population forecasting out to that 2056 planning horizon, that forecasted an annual increase in units of about 262 units per year between 2021 to 2056. So obviously we're a few years into that already. So 256, I believe last year we were in about the 60 new unit range. Obviously that was quite a low year. We've reached as high as 300 and I believe around 360 during our really busy years, 2021, around 2021. So as you can see, 720 shovel-ready units alone give us a few years of growth of those shovel-ready units that are, infrastructure available, ready to go. So if we move on to the draft approved units, again, we're looking at around 2,689. So those are units that have received draft plan approval. So draft plans of subdivision, draft plans of condominium as well. We have a few of those. And then the third number is our what we're calling proposed units. And obviously this is the most variable number. So these are applications that are in pre-consultation right now, applications that have, that we're in active conversations with. They've received, maybe official plan and zoning amendments, but haven't come through with the actual development approvals yet. And that is upwards of 2,600, so 2,600. So I'll also draw your attention in this report here also to the planning services summary report as well, prepared by our colleagues at the county, and that also gives you an overview of the application volume. So when we're talking about official plan amendments, zoning bylaw amendments, minor variances, consents, you'll see the number did go down a bit in 2025. We're likely to see that go down a little bit again in 2026. Hopefully, with the changes we've made to our zoning, hopefully we'll be seeing fewer minor variances, and we'll see. But yeah, I think this is, again, I'm quite excited about this. It just allows us to really, track and monitor this, also in relation to the building numbers as well. And I'll also note that the county is actively working on a growth management framework project as well, which is kind of a software-based way of tracking this information. So I think the work that we've done to put into, really ensuring our data is complete and comprehensive and up to date, I think will really benefit us and we'll be able to jump into that. And I'm excited to see where that goes, but happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you for that, Stephanie. I'll look to council then. Questions on that report? Yes, go ahead, Deputy Mayor Merlin.
Madam Mayor. Looking at the number of units we have shovel ready, that we're in pretty good shape as far as the province requirements to build stuff and for the funding that they're providing if we cut the DC. So as far as looking to, you know, we probably don't have to look at putting more land in the urban centers right now because what we've got within is satisfactory.
Yeah, through you, Deputy Mayor, to the rest of council, I will note, you're very much correct in that we're in a very, very good position. Let's say if we were successful in that funding bid for the reduction in DCs, yes, we're in a very, very great position. I will just caution you, I do believe, and I have indicated this in past presentations on the official plan review, but I do see our land needs assessment showing that we do need some additional land, just because of the changes in the population forecasting models that are used, the Ministry of Finance numbers. So I do see our land needs assessment coming through identifying some land need. So I will say that, but I will say we do have a very healthy pipeline.
Is there anyone else? Councillor Cates.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Great information. I love seeing this. Thank you. So obviously, so the draft plan approved. I'm just wondering why I'm not seeing the list. What was the name of the other list that you said, where you're talking to them?
Proposed units. We've had those listed under proposed units.
Yeah, I'm just not sure why I can't see that. Anyways, so maybe some of the ones I was thinking of are under the proposed. I was wondering why on the draft plan approved, why the design for happiness has a negative number.
So I believe that's in the presentation. Is that correct? So that's it's actually not a negative. It's an approximate symbol.
Oh.
Apologies. So it's approximately
Okay.
that number is a little
Okay.
bit shifting. So
Alrighty.
just highlighting might be tough to see on the scale.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Councillor Burrs.
Through you, your worship, to Stephanie, do we reach out and talk to developers? Like, is there any sense that there'll be some traction? I don't see it, but when will this waterfall start?
That's a great question. And again, it speaks to what we were speaking about in the last delegation. We really don't have a lot of control over the pace of development. That is, we are not the developers, we are not the builders. But I am very encouraged again by the state of our approvals. We have reached out to the development community actually as part of our application to the development charge reduction program. We reached out to most of our developers to seek support and to get some feedback from them and input from them. But you're right, there's a bit of a crystal ball element here for sure. But this is really intended to show that we're really doing what we need to do to get our end in line there, so that we can be ready.
Just as a follow on, so I'm out there with certain business groups for lunches and stuff, and I think we're doing everything we can. But there's other issues. There's uncertainty in the economy. There's this, younger people are concerned about jobs, not just with AI, there's just no jobs out there right now. And I think part of that is the Kuzma thing has to be cleared up. But everything's held back. I don't know what else government can do with development charges. We have the Housing Accelerator Fund. We have the HST piece. They race on with this stuff and haven't clarified what it is that you do to apply for it. Anyway, those are just my comments. I hope it all clears up. We need traction. Somebody's got to start, but when? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Council, and thank you, Stephanie, for the update on the planning and development world. We have a recommendation before us, and it's that report PLA 42/2026 regarding planning and development status update be received for information. I have Councillor Shipley and Councillor Cates, all in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Okay, next up, we're going to get an update on the budget process, and Melissa Copel, our Director of Finance, will be taking that torch for us. Go ahead when you're ready.
Great, thank you. Through Mayor DeVete to Council, this report outlines the proposed budget process and timeline for the 2027 budget. So timelines look a little different this year as it's an election year and there are special rules under strong mayor legislation. So first off, being the current mayor cannot propose next year's budget. So Ina, you cannot propose the 2027 budget. And the incoming mayor, whoever that may be, cannot propose the budget until the year of the budget. So they cannot propose the budget until earliest January 2027. So therefore, staff will continue working on the budget as per usual, and the new mayor can propose the 2027 budget at the January 13th, 2027 council meeting. Obviously, that's subject to change depending on who becomes our next mayor. So at that meeting, we're also presenting any pre-budget approvals such as COLA for staff wages and any pressing capital projects, because normally they would be approved before budget. In addition, staff is also recommending that the budget working group continue as it's worked well in the past as we can review budget matters in more detail. So we prefer 2 continuing members of council, and we will recommend them once the nominations close in August. So we have to wait till August. And yeah, so that's it. I would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you. Back to the mayor.
Okay, thank you for that report. Questions on process or? Yes, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Just one thing on the pre-approved budget stuff that you're talking about. Is that going to be possible if we're a lame duck council that we could approve stuff before the election?
Do you answer that or no? Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay. Oh, thank you. I can attempt to answer that. So in the event that we're in a lame duck council, or I believe what the Director of Finance is proposing is the pre-budget approval also wouldn't occur until January 2027. So in that case, of course, council, the inaugural is scheduled for November. But again, given the rules about adopting a budget in an election year, that the budget can only be adopted in the year in which it applies. So by January, when we intend to bring the pre-budget items for approval, we should be in good shape for council to approve those items.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? No? Okay. Thank you for that report then. We have a motion before us. That report CPS number 40, 2026 regarding the 2027 budget process be received for information. I have Councillor Cates and Councillor Shipley, thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, there are no notices of motion this evening. We do have advisory committee meeting minutes. There's a recommendation that all items listed under the advisory committee meeting minutes for July 15th, 2026 be received for information. I move Councillor Burrs and Councillor Cates, thank you. All in favor? And that carried. We have 5 correspondence items in our correspondence list tonight. Is there anything here that a councillor wishes to speak to or pull out? I don't see any hands. In that case, there is a motion before us that all items listed under the heading of correspondence for July 15th, 2026 be received for information. Mover, please, and a seconder, Councillor Cates, Councillor Burrs, all in favor? And that is carried. Next up, we have our update from Deputy Mayor Brennan. Provide an update from yesterday's County Council meeting. When you're ready, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We received the report from the golf tournament, the Warden's golf tournament this year. A new high, $36,600 was raised in the golf tournament. Beneficiaries will be Strathroy Hospital, Forest County's Hospital, and the Optimist Club of Adelaide Kerwood. So they will be getting the money and received their checks yesterday. There's been a award of an RFP for the office furniture for the new county building in the amount of $494,316. We received an investment report. We looked at the MLPS 2027 budget, a total of $81,406,000, which is an increase of only 3.54%, which is somewhat unusual because usually it's 8 or 9%. So staff at the ambulance services did a good job maintaining service and only at a 3.5% increase. So that was good news. It came to the county about the OPP board, a recommendation to move it to the county from right now our administration is doing it. There is some pushback from some municipalities, so we'll see where this is going to take us. There's going to be another report coming and we'll further discuss it at the OPP board meeting in September. But all of a sudden there appears to be some other municipalities that think they can do it, which is comes as a bit of a surprise, but we'll see what happens. So we will discuss that in September. The Ron McDonald House made a presentation to County Council. They're hoping to expand their services. For every 2 families they serve right now, 1 gets turned away because they just don't have the facility and room to deal with it. So they're looking at building a new facility and hopefully they can take more people in. There's some equipment RFPs on some early purchase for some equipment that was approved. There's a transportation service review. The consultant's being hired to do a transportation service review for the county. We have awarded a contract for pharmacy services for Strathmere Lodge for the next 2 years. And we received forestry management report and outlooks from 2026 to 2056. Realizing that the county has over 1,000 hectares of forest, and they are looking at doing some upgrades and trail systems within that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't see any questions. Nope. Okay, we can move on then to the bylaws. The motion before us is that bylaws 2026 number 49 through to 51 be passed and enacted. If I could have a mover, please, and a seconder. Councillor Shipley, Councillor Arts, all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And last but not least is the recommendation that the Council for the Municipality of Middlesex Centre adjourns the July 15th, 2026 Council meeting at 7:02 p.m. Councillor Burrs, Deputy Mayor Brennan, all in favor?
Exciting.
And we're done for this